The air crackled with sophistication. Crystal glasses chimed, a melody of wealth and status. At Le Ciel, even the shadows seemed to whisper tales of luxury. This wasn't just a restaurant, it was an experience reserved for New York City's elite. The scent of truffle and aged wine hung heavy, a silent promise of an unforgettable evening. Every surface gleamed, from the polished marble floors to the silverware that shimmered under the soft glow of chandeliers. Laughter, hushed and refined, drifted through the air, punctuated by the clinking of champagne flutes. Tonight, Le Ciel was a stage, and its patrons, the stars. Her entrance was nothing short of theatrical. Diamonds glittered on her fingers, a dazzling display of wealth that rivaled the restaurant's own opulence. Her dress, a masterpiece of silk and sequins, whispered promises of extravagance with every step she took. She moved with an air of entitlement, her chin held high, her gaze sweeping over the room as if searching for an audience.
Oh, look at this place, simply divine.
He was an unassuming figure, almost blending into the opulent background. Dressed in a simple yet impeccably tailored suit, he moved with quiet grace, his attention focused on a tray of sparkling wine glasses. His eyes, warm and observant, seemed to take in every detail, a silent guardian of the restaurant's ambiance. It happened in a heartbeat, a moment so swift yet so impactful. A misplaced gesture, a gasp, and the crimson stain bloomed on his pristine white shirt like a macabre work of art, spreading rapidly and irrevocably. The expensive wine, a vintage Bordeaux, dripped from the tablecloth, a silent testament to the woman's carelessness, each drop a reminder of the moment's gravity. Her laughter, sharp and brittle, cut through the air, shattering the restaurant's elegant facade, turning heads and drawing whispers.
Oh my, don't you know how to do your job? How could you be so clumsy? This is vintage, you know. A rare find, not easily replaced. Do you have any idea how much this costs? It's worth more than you can imagine.
Her words, laced with venom, hung in the air, a stark contrast to the man's stunned silence, a silence that spoke volumes. He stood there, a statue of humiliation, the red wine a painful reminder of her careless disregard, his face flushed with embarrassment. His shoulders slumped slightly, the weight of her words heavier than any physical burden, a burden that seemed to crush his spirit. The other diners watched, their faces a mixture of amusement and pity, some whispering, others openly staring.
I'm terribly sorry, ma'am. I didn't mean for this to happen. I'll get this cleaned up right away. Please, let me make it right. I'll do whatever it takes to fix this.
Whispers, like tiny venomous snakes, slithered through the room. Each hushed conversation, a testament to the woman's social standing, amplified her cruelty. Some diners averted their eyes, embarrassed by the spectacle, while others watched with morbid fascination. The air, thick with tension, crackled with anticipation.
That's Mrs. Kensington. They say her husband practically owns Wall Street.
His words, laced with reverence, spoke volumes about the power dynamics at play. The woman, fueled by the whispers and the attention, seemed to grow larger, her arrogance filling the room. She straightened her already perfect posture, her eyes gleaming with a cruel satisfaction. In that moment, she was invincible, untouchable, the queen of her own little kingdom. But the man, he surprised them all. His actions were not what anyone had anticipated. Instead of anger, a quiet dignity settled on his face. It was as if he had mastered the art of remaining composed under pressure. He met her gaze, his own steady and unwavering. There was a silent communication in that look, a message of resilience and inner strength. In that single look, there was a universe of emotions. Disappointment, yes, but also a deep, unwavering strength. It was a look that spoke volumes without uttering a single word. He didn't flinch, didn't rise to the bait of her anger. His calm demeanor was a stark contrast to the chaos around him.
I apologize, madam, he said, his voice calm and steady, betraying no hint of the turmoil he must have felt. His words were chosen carefully, each one a testament to his self-control. Please allow me to rectify this situation. His tone was respectful, almost soothing, as if he was trying to diffuse the tension with his mere presence.
His words, measured and polite, were in stark contrast to her venomous tirade. It was a masterclass in maintaining composure under duress. He picked up a fresh napkin, his movements deliberate and graceful, and began to dab at the spilled wine on the table. Each action was performed with a sense of purpose and calm. Each movement was controlled, measured, a testament to his composure in the face of her blatant disrespect. It was as if he was performing a well-rehearsed routine. The silence stretched, broken only by the clinking of his ring as he reached for another napkin. It was a moment that seemed to last forever, a quiet testament to his unshakable calm. "Rectify?" the woman scoffed, her voice dripping with disdain. "You think you can just rectify this? Do you even know who I am?" Her arrogance was palpable, a suffocating presence that seemed to suck the air out of the room. He paused, his hand hovering over the spilled wine, and then slowly, deliberately, he looked up, meeting her gaze with an unwavering intensity.
"Madam," he said, his voice still calm but with an underlying current of steel, "you are in my restaurant."
And in that moment, the air in the room seemed to crackle with a different kind of energy. The whispers died down, replaced by a stunned silence. The woman's eyes widened, a flicker of uncertainty momentarily clouding her arrogant facade.
"I believe," he continued, his voice still calm but firm, "that you and I have different definitions of what constitutes acceptable behavior." He gestured to the spilled wine, his voice laced with quiet disappointment. "This," he said, "is not how we treat people, regardless of their social standing or the price tag on their wine."
The woman's face, a canvas of shock and dawning realization, was a sight to behold. The color drained from her cheeks, leaving behind a stark paleness that contrasted sharply with her expensive makeup. Her carefully constructed facade crumbled, revealing a flicker of vulnerability beneath the layers of arrogance. The silence in the restaurant was deafening. Every eye was on her, their gazes filled with a mixture of judgment and fascination. The whispers that had followed her entrance were gone, replaced by a stifling quiet that seemed to amplify her humiliation. He continued to look at her, his gaze steady and unwavering, as if he could see right through her facade. There was no malice in his eyes, no desire for revenge, only a quiet dignity that spoke volumes, a silent strength that resonated deeply. In that moment, he wasn't just a waiter, he was a man who refused to be disrespected, who demanded to be treated with basic human decency. His stance was firm, his resolve unshakable. A ripple of something akin to respect, or perhaps it was just a healthy dose of fear, ran through the room. It was as if his quiet defiance had awakened something in the hearts of those present. The other diners, emboldened by his quiet strength, seemed to straighten in their seats, their gazes shifting from the woman to the man who had dared to challenge her. They felt a newfound courage, a sense of solidarity. The woman, stripped of her arrogance and social armor, seemed to shrink under the weight of his gaze. Her confidence wavered, her composure cracked. Her eyes darted around the room, searching for an escape, but there was none to be found. She was cornered by the very people she had once looked down upon. She was trapped, not by physical restraints, but by the weight of her own actions. The realization of her own misdeeds bore down on her, leaving her vulnerable and exposed.
She stammered, her voice barely a whisper. The words she had so readily used to humiliate him now seemed to stick in her throat, choked by the realization of her own cruelty. For the first time that evening, she seemed unsure of herself, her carefully constructed world tilting on its axis.
He nodded, a silent acknowledgement of her apology, or perhaps her lack thereof. He then turned, his movements deliberate and graceful, and motioned to another waiter.
"Please escort Madam to the door," he said, his voice calm and steady, brooking no argument.
The woman, her face pale and her shoulders slumped, didn't protest. She rose from her seat, her movements stiff and awkward, and allowed herself to be led away, her expensive shoes clicking on the marble floor like a mournful echo of her shattered pride. As the doors closed behind her, a collective sigh seemed to escape the room. The tension that had gripped the restaurant dissipated, replaced by a strange sense of relief. It was as if a weight had been lifted, a shared experience of witnessing justice served, albeit quietly and without fanfare. Whether the woman learned a lesson that night, whether she truly understood the weight of her actions, remained to be seen. But one thing was certain: she had been humbled, stripped of her arrogance, and forced to confront the consequences of her behavior. The man, his composure still intact, straightened his jacket and surveyed the room. His gaze, no longer focused on the woman, swept over the other diners, a silent acknowledgement of their presence. The incident, though brief and seemingly insignificant in the grand scheme of things, served as a potent reminder. Respect, like most precious things in life, is earned, not demanded. It's a universal currency, transcending social status, wealth, and outward appearances. And sometimes it takes a quiet act of defiance, a refusal to be treated as anything less than human, to remind us all of its value. Pause 2S. The woman, now alone in her opulent room, sat by the window, her mind racing with the events of the evening. The elegance of the night had faded, replaced by a haunting sense of remorse. She replayed the scene in her head, the wine spill, the whispers, the man's calm demeanor. Pause 1S. She couldn't shake the image of his dignified response, the way he had maintained his composure despite the embarrassment she had caused. It was a stark contrast to her own actions, driven by pride and a sense of superiority. Pause 1S. As the night deepened, she began to reflect on the impact of her actions, not just on him, but on herself. She realized that respect was not just about how others treated her, but also about how she treated others. She felt a pang of guilt, a realization that she had fallen short of her own values. Pause 1S. Determined to make amends, she contemplated her next steps. Apologies were easy, but genuine change required more. She knew she had to confront her own flaws, to learn humility and empathy. As she looked out into the night, she made a silent vow to seek out the man and offer a sincere apology, hoping to restore the dignity she had taken from him. Pause 2S. For in the end, respect was not just about receiving it, but about giving it, even to those we might overlook. And in that moment of reflection, she took the first step towards becoming a better person. Pause 2S. With the first light of dawn, the woman's resolve solidified. She knew what she had to do. Seeking forgiveness was not just about uttering words of apology. It was about showing genuine remorse and a willingness to change. Pause 1S. As she prepared to leave her room, her heart pounded with a mix of fear and determination. The fear of rejection loomed large, yet the need to make amends was stronger. Pause 1S. She walked through the grand corridors of her home, each step echoing her internal struggle. What if he refused to see her? What if her apology was too late? Pause 1S. But she pushed these doubts aside, focusing on the lesson she had learned, the importance of humility and respect. Pause 1S. Arriving at the man's residence, she hesitated for a moment, taking a deep breath before knocking on the door. Pause 1S. When he finally appeared, his expression was one of surprise but not hostility. She took a deep breath, her voice trembling slightly as she began to speak. Pause 1S. "I came to apologize," she said, her eyes meeting his with sincerity. "I realized that my actions were wrong, and I deeply regret the pain I caused you. I hope you can find it in your heart to forgive me." Pause 1S. There was a moment of silence, a ripple of tension in the air. Then, to her relief, his expression softened. He nodded slowly, acknowledging her courage and sincerity. Pause 1S. The road to redemption was long, but this was the first step. She had faced her fear, acknowledged her flaws, and sought to make things right. And in doing so, she had begun to change, not just in the eyes of others, but in her own heart as well. Pause 2S. Seeking forgiveness was not a sign of weakness, but of strength and growth. And in that moment, she felt a sense of peace, knowing she was on the path to becoming a better person. Pause 2S. The woman stood before the man, her heart racing, but her resolve firm. She had rehearsed her words countless times, but now, faced with the reality of the moment, she realized that no amount of preparation could ease the weight of her apology. Pause 1S. "I came to apologize," she began, her voice trembling slightly. Her eyes, filled with sincerity, met his. "I realize that my actions were wrong, and I deeply regret the pain I caused you. I hope you can find it in your heart to forgive me." Pause 1S. The man listened intently, his expression unreadable. There was a moment of silence, a ripple of tension in the air that seemed to stretch on forever. Pause 1S. Then, to her relief, his expression softened. He nodded slowly, acknowledging her courage and sincerity. "It takes a lot to admit one's mistakes," he said quietly. "I appreciate your honesty and your willingness to make amends." Pause 1S. The woman felt a surge of emotion, a mix of relief and gratitude. She had faced her fear and taken the first step toward redemption. Pause 1S. Seeking forgiveness was not a sign of weakness, but of strength and growth. And in that moment, she felt a sense of peace, knowing she was on the path to becoming a better person. Pause 2S. The journey ahead would be long, but with each step, She was learning the true meaning of humility and respect, and that, she realized, was the greatest lesson of all. Pause 2s. The woman stood there, feeling a weight lift off her shoulders after her heartfelt apology. But the man, sensing the need for deeper understanding, took a step closer. Pause 1s. Thank you for your apology, he began, his voice calm yet firm. But I think it's important for you to understand the impact of your actions not just on me, but on those around us. Pause 1s. He paused, gathering his thoughts. When you acted the way you did, it wasn't just about the moment. It was about trust, respect, and the way we treat each other. Your actions created a ripple effect. Friends, colleagues, even strangers, they all saw and felt the consequences. Pause 1s. The woman listened intently, her eyes widening as she began to grasp the depth of his words. I never realized, she whispered, her voice breaking. I was so caught up in my own world that I didn't see how it affected others. Pause 1s. The man nodded, a hint of sadness in his eyes. It's easy to overlook the bigger picture when we're focused on ourselves, but every action, every word has a weight, and sometimes the heaviest burdens are the ones we unknowingly place on others. Pause 1s. He took a deep breath, his tone softening. It's not about dwelling on the past, but about learning from it. Understanding the depth of our actions helps us grow, helps us become better. And I believe, with your sincerity, you can make a positive change. Pause 1s. The woman felt tears welling up, a mix of guilt and determination. I promise, she said, her voice steadying. I will learn from this. I will do better. Pause 1s. The man gave a small, encouraging smile. That's all anyone can ask for. It's a journey, and you're taking the right steps. Pause 2s. With those words, a new understanding blossomed between them. It was a moment of connection, of shared humanity. And as they stood there, both changed by the conversation, they knew that this was the beginning of a new chapter, one built on empathy, growth, and mutual respect. Pause 2s. The journey ahead would not be easy, but it was one worth taking. Together, they would navigate the complexities of forgiveness and understanding, each step bringing them closer to a better, more compassionate future. Pause 2s. With their newfound understanding, the woman and the man began to build a bridge of mutual respect. It wasn't an overnight transformation, but rather a series of small, meaningful steps. Pause 1s. They started with open conversations, sharing their thoughts and feelings honestly without fear of judgment. Each dialogue became a brick in their bridge, solidifying their connection. Pause 1s. They made a conscious effort to support each other, acknowledging and celebrating even the smallest of victories. Pause 1s. Gradually, their interactions became more natural, filled with genuine smiles and laughter. Pause 1s. They learned to see the world through each other's eyes, fostering empathy and compassion. Pause 1s. There were still challenges, moments of doubt and misunderstandings. But every time they stumbled, they reminded themselves of the promise they had made, to learn, to grow, and to respect. Pause 1s. With time, their relationship became a testament to the power of understanding and the beauty of human connection. Pause 2s. It was a journey, not just towards forgiveness, but towards a brighter, more compassionate future. Together, they proved that even the deepest rifts could be mended, and that bridges built on respect and empathy could withstand any storm. Pause 2s. As they walked this path, they knew that they were not just building a bridge between themselves, but setting an example for others. Pause 1s. Their story became a beacon of hope, showing that with effort and understanding, even the most broken relationships could be healed. Pause 2s. And so, with each step, they moved forward hand in hand, ready to face whatever came their way, together. Pause 2s. Pause 2s. As she walked along the path of reconciliation, the woman took a moment to reflect on her journey. She thought about the nights filled with self-doubt and the days where her pride had overshadowed her judgment. Pause 1s. But now, standing on the other side, she could see how each challenge had shaped her into a stronger, more compassionate person. Pause 1s. She realized that humility wasn't about diminishing oneself, but about recognizing and valuing the worth of others. Pause 1s. Respect wasn't just an act, but a mindset, a way of life that brought people together. Pause 1s. She had learned that true strength lay not in standing alone, but in building connections and fostering understanding. Pause 1s. Every misstep, every moment of vulnerability had been a lesson in empathy, teaching her to see the world through the eyes of others. Pause 1s. As she reflected, she felt a deep sense of gratitude for the man who had walked this journey with her. Pause 1s. Their shared experiences had not only healed their relationship, but had also transformed her perspective on life. Pause 1s. She now understood that respect and humility were the cornerstones of any meaningful connection. Pause 1s. And with this newfound wisdom, she felt ready to face the future, confident that no challenge was insurmountable when approached with an open heart and a willing spirit. Pause 2s. Her journey had been one of growth, of learning, and of profound transformation. Pause 2s. And as she continued to walk this path, she knew that she carried with her the lessons of humility and respect, guiding her towards a brighter, more compassionate future. Pause 2s. Pause 2s. With her heart and mind transformed, the woman felt a deep desire to give back to her community. She decided to use her influence to promote kindness and respect, recognizing that small acts of compassion could create a ripple effect of positive change. Pause 1s. She began by organizing community events that encouraged open dialogue and understanding among neighbors. From hosting workshops on empathy to initiating kindness challenges, she sought to inspire others to lead with their hearts. Her efforts soon began to bear fruit, as people started to share their own experiences and stories, fostering a sense of unity and belonging. One by one, barriers broke down, and a culture of respect and humility started to flourish within the community. She saw children learning the value of kindness through simple gestures, like helping a friend or listening without judgment. Adults, too, began to adopt a more empathetic approach in their interactions, realizing the profound impact of their actions on others. The woman felt a deep sense of fulfillment, knowing that her journey of transformation was now helping others to embark on their own paths of growth and understanding. She understood that while she couldn't change the world overnight, she could be the spark that ignited change within her community. And with each act of kindness, each moment of respect, she moved closer to creating a world where compassion and empathy were the norm, not the exception. Her journey of humility and respect had come full circle, and she was now a beacon of hope and inspiration for others. In spreading kindness, she found a new purpose, a mission that would continue to guide her towards a brighter, more compassionate future. Pause 2s. The woman's journey of transformation didn't just end with her own actions. Her newfound mission of spreading kindness began to inspire those around her. People started to reflect on their own behavior, questioning how they could contribute to this wave of positivity. Pause 1s. Neighbors who once barely acknowledged each other began to engage in meaningful conversations. Families found themselves mending old wounds, sharing stories, and offering support in ways they hadn't before. Even local businesses began to adopt more community-focused practices, recognizing the value of a compassionate approach. Pause 1s. The woman's influence extended beyond her immediate surroundings, reaching schools, workplaces, and social circles. Teachers incorporated lessons on empathy and respect into their curriculums, and students took these principles to heart, fostering a more inclusive and supportive environment. Pause 1s. In workplaces, colleagues began to approach conflicts with a mindset of understanding rather than judgment, leading to more harmonious and productive teams. Social media, often a platform for divisiveness, saw a surge in positive and uplifting content as people shared stories of kindness and respect. Pause 1s. The ripple effect of the woman's actions was undeniable. Her community, once fragmented and distant, began to coalesce into a network of support and solidarity. People realized that they too had the power to make a difference, no matter how small their actions might seem. Pause 1s. The woman watched with a heart full of gratitude as her community transformed. She knew that real change starts from within and spreads outward, touching lives in ways that are both profound and lasting. Her journey had sparked a movement, one that would continue to grow and evolve, carrying the torch of kindness and respect into the future. Pause 1s. And so, with every act of compassion, every gesture of empathy, the ripple effect of her actions continued to inspire and uplift, creating a world where kindness truly knows no bounds. Pause 2s. As the ripple effect of kindness and respect continued to spread, the woman and the man found themselves drawn closer together. Their initial encounter, marked by misunderstanding and conflict, had transformed into a profound journey of growth and learning. They began to spend more time together, sharing their stories, dreams, and fears. Each conversation deepened their understanding of one another, revealing layers of complexity and vulnerability. They supported each other through challenges, celebrated successes, and found solace in their shared experiences. Their bond of friendship grew stronger with each passing day, built on a foundation of mutual respect and empathy. The woman, once isolated by her own pride, discovered the joy of true companionship. The man, too, found a confidant in her, someone who understood his struggles and aspirations. Together, they became beacons of positivity in their community, exemplifying the power of connection and the beauty of human relationships. Their friendship inspired others to seek out and nurture meaningful connections in their own lives. The woman and the man knew that their journey was far from over. They continued to grow and learn from each other, embracing the challenges and joys that life brought their way. Their story was a testament to the transformative power of kindness, respect, and friendship, a new beginning that promised a future filled with hope and endless possibilities. Pause 2S. As the ripple effect of kindness and respect continued to spread, the woman and the man found themselves drawn closer together. Their initial encounter, marked by misunderstanding and conflict, had transformed into a profound journey of growth and learning. They began to spend more time together, sharing their stories, dreams, and fears. Each conversation deepened their understanding of one another, revealing layers of complexity and vulnerability. They supported each other through challenges, celebrated successes, and found solace in their shared experiences. Their bond of friendship grew stronger with each passing day, built on a foundation of mutual respect and empathy. The woman, once isolated by her own pride, discovered the joy of true companionship. The man, too, found a confidant in her, someone who understood his struggles and aspirations. Together, they became beacons of positivity in their community, exemplifying the power of connection and the beauty of human relationships. Their friendship inspired others to seek out and nurture meaningful connections in their own lives. The woman and the man knew that their journey was far from over. They continued to grow and learn from each other, embracing the challenges and joys that life brought their way. Their story was a testament to the transformative power of kindness, respect, and friendship, a new beginning that promised a future filled with hope and endless possibilities. Pause 2S. The story concludes with a powerful message about the importance of respect and understanding in all relationships. Respect isn't just about acknowledging someone's presence, it's about valuing their thoughts, feelings, and experiences. It's about listening with empathy, acting with kindness, and building bridges of understanding. Pause 2S. In a world where misunderstandings and conflicts are inevitable, respect is the cornerstone that can transform adversaries into allies and strangers into friends. This story reminds us that through respect and understanding, we can create a world where everyone feels valued and connected. A world where every interaction becomes an opportunity to uplift and inspire, and every relationship a chance to grow and learn. Pause 2S. As we move forward in our own lives, let us carry this message with us. Let us strive to respect and understand those around us, and in doing so, create a ripple effect of positivity that touches every corner of our world. Pause 2S. Thank you for watching, and remember, respect is the key to a brighter, more connected future.